Welcome to the Effects Loop. I'm Scott.
I'm Chris.
I'm Marissa.
I'm Diaz. How you doing?
We're keeping you in the loop with the guitar community.
I'm sorry, I had to. We can redo it if you want.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Hey,
All right.
welcome to the Effects Loop. I'm Vinny.
You sound like Prison Mike from The Office. This episode is brought to you by Nonsensical Laughter.
Hey man, prison's hard. You got the Dementors.
The Dementors.
The Dementors. Hey, Prison Mike. Oh my god. You know what? I'm surprised that the Stanford merge played out as well as it did. It was like really bad and awkward at first, and then finally like smoothed in.
Yeah, everyone quit.
Yeah.
Except Karen and Andy.
Karen ended up. Where did she? She ended up to go to Utica, right?
Yep.
Yeah, she left pretty fast. And then who was the last lady?
Who? She was like the saber person in charge of the Florida store.
No. I'm talking about
From Stanford.
Yeah, no. She lasted right towards the end of that season, I think. But like, yeah, no, it was
It's just Karen. Karen and Andy were the only ones that lasted.
No, there was I'm talking about. She lasted quite a bit longer. She was the tall lady. She looked kind of dull, I guess is the way to describe it. Very average.
Oh, is she the accounting lady? Probably?
I think she might have been. Yeah, I think she was accounting.
Hannah Barr.
That's it. So.
Oh, I remember her.
Yeah, see,
she left.
I have literally no memories of her.
1,
on that
2,
show.
3, 4, 5, 6. She was in 6 episodes.
Yeah, no, she was in there quite a bit. No, she finally ended up leaving, but it was right. I can't remember. I'm watching The Office again, but yeah. So thanks for sponsoring The Office episode, StringJoy. As we get back,
Should we start the Office
reset.
podcast?
Yeah,
No, that was gonna be
reset.
good.
that was getting good. We're not resetting. Everyone can listen to us argue. Keep this
Yeah,
in
let's
the
just jump
podcast
into the
as well.
sponsor spot.
Let's do it.
Just do it. Just do it.
I mean, we did skip our West Wing episode. That was supposed to be episode 25.
I'm pretty sure you skipped episode 25, or was that 26?
That was 25.
That was 25. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you weren't even there for it.
so we did talk about it.
I guess. But anyways,
This episode is brought to you by StringJoy. They make custom sets of strings to your heart's desire. They specialize in balanced tension strings, which, not really all manufacturers do. Check out our episode a few episodes back where Scott Marcourt joined us, talked about the history of guitar strings a little bit and how we kind of wound up with a modern set that you buy at a guitar store and how his are a little bit different. I actually just bought a ton of them. Got some projects in the go, and I think we'll talk a little bit about that in our What's New. But let's kick it over to Chris. What's new with you?
I got nothing new this week, I don't think.
Dang it,
A
Chris.
shiny, brand new set of tires. That's what you got.
Oh yeah.
Those
So
are always
instead
nice.
of
Tires are
buying
shiny?
gear, I bought tires.
Well, I'm probably going to be in that same boat because I had a rebar go through my front
Oof.
tire this morning at like 5 a.m. That was nice.
This is why I'm renting a car for my road trip this week, because I'm like, my car's going to break. I just know it.
Well, you've had 2 tire incidences within like a few months of each other.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I've had car problems both times I've come back from Nashville over the last 2 years too.
Yeah.
But I got that one coming back from Nashville. I just hit something like a mile from my house, which was annoying. But at least I got that far back home before something bad happened.
Yep.
And then, like 3-4 weeks ago, I got another flat tire. Not happy.
Yeah. So I'm so safe to assume if there's nothing new for Chris, there's nothing new for Marissa, or did you find some new cookie recipes that are going to be delicious?
I'm still searching. Because, I know Scott likes the soft and chewy ones.
Yeah, you need to get closer to your mic.
Well, hold on. If you look at me, you know that I like any cookie. So don't worry about that. Heck, I even like oatmeal raisin.
I do too.
Oatmeal raisins are good.
You know what? I think maybe oatmeal raisin comes with age.
Yeah, I didn't start liking them until like my 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I can always do that.
listen, I'm down with soft and chewy though. I'm not a fan of the crunchy cookie. I don't understand why
See,
that
I'm
should.
not
why
either.
Why is that a thing? Why is that a thing?
Whoa. There are crunchy cookies that are good.
Okay,
Like the President's Choice ones are delicious.
Which ones?
Those are crunchy. President's Choice, the Decadent or whatever it's called. That's a pretty premium
Wait,
cookie.
what President's Choice? What type of Caucasian food are you eating? Like that's like
You guys don't have President's Choice down there?
that's like level 90 Caucasian.
They're a regional food distributor.
For your region, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never seen those.
All right, so that's your.
That's also that they are really big in Canada, so maybe that's where I'm thinking about it. But which is funny because Canada doesn't have a president.
Hey, listen, Scott. Next time you go to Canada, if you can get me some President's Choice and some Timbits, and just mail those on down.
Timbits won't be good by the time I mail them.
Do I look like a guy who will care? The answer is no. Oh my gosh. No, listen, heck, my mom used to bring food up from Florida when she'd drive up. It's a 10-hour trip. I don't care. She bring chicken gizzards, best food ever. Scott,
Wait, what?
have you? Oh my gosh, Scott's never had chicken gizzards.
Ooh.
Go on.
It's okay. They're flipping. I make the best chicken gizzards, hands down. I'd take on anyone. It's a challenge, but it's like you don't want to know what it is, but it's like it's chewy, it's fried, and you dip it in hot sauce. It's the best thing ever.
So
Sounds
what part
interesting.
of the chicken is the gizzard?
You can't see it if you're looking at one, so don't worry about it.
What a way to describe it.
That's the best. That's all you need to know. Okay, I have nothing new this week besides the fact that we were talking last week about before the episode, kind of talking about like what we wanted to do with the podcast and all that. And one thing I talked about was I really enjoy doing live videos, so I did one this past week, and I'm kind of trying to find the format for that. So if you're a avid listener, send us an email or post something in the group. Tell me what you'd like to see. I know Will Hugh and I talked. He's a listener, and that kind of helped me with that choice of doing the live videos. And I got my Line 6 Sonic port up and running, so that was like kind of my new thing for the week, was kind of testing out some content for our listeners.
Is this the first time you've tried out the Sonic port since Line 6 gave you a replacement cable?
Yeah, and so I did the live video, and at first you couldn't hear me, and it's because it wasn't plugged in.
Well done.
I didn't tell everyone that, but it's pretty cool because I use I think I'm clipping. I'm getting a little loud. I'm using the Zoom H6 as a interface, which is pretty cool, and it's done a great job. So like I can talk on the mic, I can mute the mic, whenever I'm playing and whatever. So it's pretty cool. But I did get that new cable and got it up and running, even though I kind of crushed the cable a little bit. Those cables they're not cheap. They're just, it's small and it's plastic. It's kind of like your iPhone charger. Like you drop it and you don't pay attention sometimes.
Yeah.
But if you get used to like a 1/4-inch cable, how much abuse one of those can take, because there's only two, strands in there.
Yeah.
And then compare that with like a lightning charger or all those kind of things. How many pins does a lightning cord have?
Was it 32 or something like that?
I can't focus on it enough to actually count. But there's a lot of pins on a lightning connector.
Scott, if you can't count, it's okay. You can just tell us. We're not going to judge you. and that's when I pissed Scott off.
I've got nothing. I got nothing.
What is that noise? Is someone playing a piano?
It's not on our end.
A motorcycle just drove by my house.
That might be. Now my dog's gonna growl.
Yeah.
Right. That's awesome. Way to go, Vader. Pay attention. Scott, what do you have new?
I got 2 new things in today, which is a good thing we were recording on a Monday and not a Sunday, because otherwise I'd have nothing.
Hey.
So I got a big old care package from Scott over at StringJoy today. I put in an order and for I don't know, a couple sets of 10s, some acoustic strings, and a custom set that I'm going to have a later project about. So and a t-shirt. So got some good swag from him. One of the sets of 10s are already out because another package came later this afternoon, like right before we started recording, where I pulled out a Cower Titan KR1.
Okay.
I know Diaz is just seething with jealousy right now.
All right.
He's gone silent with jealousy. I love it.
So silent.
Yeah, I have been hunting for one of these for a while. The opportunity finally came up for me to grab one. So I got a what's the green color called? Verde something or other.
Okay.
And it's got like a parchment guard with a pinstripe on it. It's really pretty. Plays really well. Need to put new strings on it because any used guitar does. And I think the previous owner had 9s or 8s on it because it felt really light. So I'm gonna have to set all that up and get it playing, but really looking forward to digging into that. Oh, and Diaz left in protest.
Be
back.
That explains so much.
Yay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Don't mind. I was just sitting there talking about my Titan.
I didn't stop recording, so if you guys stopped or whatever, we can hop back in.
Yeah, so that's everything that's new with me. Let's jump into the news, and John, why don't you take this first one, this new product offering from Epiphone?
So Epiphone is offering the Peter Frampton Les Paul Custom Pro, which everyone knows Peter Frampton's Les Paul. It's
the Frampton Comes Alive cover.
Yeah, I mean it's
just a classic.
I believe it's a Black Beauty, or maybe
Basically.
it was a third pickup was added, but I mean it's really cool that they're offering an Epiphone because it's like instead of it all being Gibson higher end that you can't afford, they're offering a good Epiphone, lower price point. Did it say what the price is on that?
I haven't. I thought it was on the high end of Epiphone offerings. Like I think it was just sub 1,000 when I first saw it, and because I'm on the Epiphone website, I can't see the price.
Yeah, but that's not a horrible price. I mean,
no, I mean Epiphone has made guitars in that price range with their Pro series, and they play like $1,000 guitar. Like that price is very justified, as long as you can wrap your head. Like it's like everyone goes, oh, it's an Epiphone, should only be $300, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Wait, is it actually
$1,000?
$1,000?
I can't find it. Has the price actually been announced yet? Maybe that's why I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like Googling everybody I can right now, and like Sweetwater's is not popping up quickly.
Oh wait, hold on.
Well,
The guitar only version is $900, and then the premium outfit, which has like the whole certificate of authenticity and all that good stuff, is $1,200. So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's not. I mean, that's still not bad for a signature guitar, and it's. I think the main thing would be is how it plays. Like, I mean, Epiphones play really well, but I would want to see what their feeling is with the design. I mean, I'm sure it feels like a Les Paul, but That and the weight on it.
Mm-hmm.
With the extra, I mean, not saying the extra pickup's going to add a bunch of weight because I mean you're taking out some of the body too, but I don't know. Some of the Les Pauls get pretty heavy.
Yeah, and I mean, but also for the end of price comparison or whatever, in the past Gibson has done a Peter Frampton Les Paul, and so one of them went for $5,200. So $900 doesn't seem so crazy anymore. And then they had the Phoenix version, which was relic.
Was it a limited run, or is it going to be like? Are they going to like make quite a few of them?
They're claiming it's limited edition, but I don't know if that's just the one that comes with all the extra doodads.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good idea for a guitar because there's not. I don't know. I don't think I've ever met a guitar player that like hated Frampton's guitar playing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
I mean, I'm trying to think of like anything negative to really say about him. I mean, he was like one of the first guitar gods, really.
Yeah. Did you see him do Black Hole Sun?
No.
Oh my gosh. All right. If
I need to check that out.
Yeah, he does it with the talk box because he's.
Oh, that's cool.
And it actually.
Oh, like the intro part?
No, he does the whole thing. He like.
Oh, that's cool.
So his guitar is pretty much singing Chris Cornell's part. So it's really cool. I don't think he uses the EBO. He uses the EBO on that at the beginning too. That's how I stumbled upon it. Was like whenever I got an EBO, I was like, cool songs with EBO, and I think someone put Frampton doing Black Hole Sun. So it really like showcases. It's probably like one of those songs where like it's like, oh yeah, that's a Peter Frampton song. It's got like EBO, it's talk box, and it's got a cool solo. So
yeah, I just my favorite song is by him still is "Baby I Love Your Way," but everyone's got their own.
Do You Feel Like I Do? It's a good one. I mean, the whole Come Alive album just is really that changed. That's an album that changed rock and roll.
Also, great Simpsons appearance.
Didn't he appear on Family Guy as well?
I have not watched Family Guy as much as I have Simpsons.
I think he appeared on Family Guy when Peter and Death like travel through time. He comes out and plays "Baby I Love Your Way."
Oh yeah, he's like Peter Frampton.
Yeah, I think
come with me with your guitar and the thing that makes it go wah 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 wah. Yeah, that one. That was like first season, I think.
Yeah, I think it was either first season or second. I'm pretty sure it was first though, because I got those DVDs, like the $10 pack DVD at Walmart. And that was on there. So, what's next? Because this is like probably the most ADD episode we've had in a while.
Yeah, this is what happens when you get me right after work. Also in that run, they're also doing a Peter Frampton acoustic guitar. I don't have a lot to say about it. No. I don't know if you guys do.
Really.
I mean, you can do "Baby I Love Your Way."
Oh, the acoustic version, yeah.
Ooh, baby, I love. Was there a? I thought the live version. I thought the one on Come Alive was acoustic. Is there a non-acoustic version?
Yeah, there's a full band version and like just him with an acoustic version.
Oh. But I think he plays the acoustic on the full band version.
I thought he played a 12-string for some reason. I don't know.
What is it? A 12-string that is acoustic?
His signature is not.
Okay, yeah, but we're both right, so that's okay.
All right. So next up, coming out, Victory Amps is releasing a line of preamp pedals. Chris, you were really digging into these.
Oh yeah, because I'm sure most of y'all has like somewhat kept up with like some conversations that we've had. I've been on like an amp journey trying to find the perfect thing for me. And since I really hate like carrying around amp heads, when I saw these first get announced, I think back in Winter NAMM, I feel like I was super excited because I'm just going to focus on the Sheriff one in this round. It's their Plexi, basically. So it's a 2-channel Plexi with, I believe it does have a power amp out, if I'm correct.
Is there an effects loop on it? Oh no, it goes out to a power amp. So it's
I
kind
guess
of
theoretically you don't need a effects loop on it. You just run out of that into.
Well, I mean, it
the
does
remainder
have
of
an
your
effects
pedals.
loop on it. Also,
cool.
yeah.
well, that's beneficial because that's the name of the show. So it's cool.
I'm trying to double check and make sure I'm not.
So all right,
Yeah, this
so,
is just a preamp pedal, but it's still good if you're wanting to like run direct or.
But if you have a preamp and you're running direct, wouldn't you still want like a cab simulator?
Oh yeah, you are.
Okay. If not, it'd
And
be pretty
arguably a
harsh.
power
right?
amp simulator too. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
like everyone gets so obsessed with like 6L6 or is it EL84? You know what my power amps are doing. So
Yeah.
that's an effect too. But are
there
so
really
how would
power
you
amp
set this
pedals?
up?
They're not. These are strictly preamp. For some reason, I
No,
was
no.
thinking they were power amp. Oh, you're
No, but
saying
do people make power amp pedals?
60 Cycle Hum was testing out. I think it was a mower one. It might have been another brand, but it was something like that.
EHX had the
The hot,
22 and 44 or 45 watt ones.
well, but weren't
Those were just a pedal that was like straight up a power amp. Though.
Yeah.
oh, yeah, because you could run that into your speaker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
okay.
there's the Milkman the amp. I think is the one we're kind of all comparing these two, which also has a Class D amp in it and it has a DI out.
Yeah.
It has the tremolo in it too.
It does, yeah, and it's but that comparatively price wise, where are these coming in at from Victory?
Shit. I feel like I've seen them priced in like the $300, like $299 or $399, somewhere in there. So they're
That's
not
not bad.
that badly priced. Especially
Also
since it's
considering
all
there's tubes in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's not bad, but I mean, because
I wish Victory had better distribution.
How long has Victory
in
amps
the
been
US.
around? I feel like I'm just now really hearing about them.
Well, they're out of England, and so they got in real tight with Andertons, and that's given them lots of
Okay.
distribution. So, but like for the longest time, I thought they were like exclusive to Rift City.
See,
It
when
might have been, but like when we were up in Rift City, like when we visited one of the Rift Cities, I don't remember seeing any Victory amps in there. So maybe
I
it's
don't
just like
remember
strictly
either.
online or at their main store.
they seem like they, you know what? The one thing is when I look at them, so aren't they like kind of a like very square chassis?
Mm-hmm.
They do like almost a lunchbox style head.
Yeah,
Yep.
they remind me of the Yamaha heads. I don't know which one came out first, but they kind of have that feel of like just the square metal box.
Oh yeah,
think
and like
Yamahas
the
were
Box
kind of
Night Train and the orange. Was it the Micro Terror?
Yeah, they've got that kind of thing. Are they
Are you
that
thinking
small?
of the
though?
THR? Is that what
Yeah,
you're thinking
I'm
about?
thinking of the Yamaha THR. Yeah,
That was like their modeling amp, though.
yeah. It was still a great amp. It was great for. I went and bought a pedal from a guy who had one. That was an awkward. You know what? That should have been my awkward buying experience. Man, can we rewind this a few episodes?
Did you ever go to that dude's house where he was like going to give you pedals to play with your?
I'm probably going to go this Friday. Him and I both, we've been just kind of off schedules. I've had a lot going on, and he's been kind of sick. He's an older guy, but I think I'm supposed to be going. I told him to call me, and we might try to set up something this Friday.
Sick.
Okay. So I was able to find a pre-order for these. They are $450.
Oh, still not
So
bad.
still coming in under what like the Milkman
Yeah, but
was.
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of weird if it's just a preamp though.
Yeah, I mean, what's actually really cool about Victory stuff is it's actually very affordable,
Yeah.
considering it's a boutique brand and like high-end stuff. So like for example, a real Kraken.
Wait, hold on. Kraken, did they come out with a Kraken pedal?
Yes.
So you're telling me they released the Kraken?
Yes.
Nice.
That was horrible.
That was your dad joke moment of the episode with DS. But like their mini amp comes in around 900. The full blown Kraken, which is still a pretty low powered amp, comes in around just under 1200. a lot of their amps come in under 1,500 at a boutique amp head. That's a pretty aggressive pricing strategy.
Yeah, and
So-
they don't sound bad
Are
like
they-
you would
are they
expect
hand-wired?
something.
They're PCB. They
Yeah.
have to be to fit in that size of an enclosure.
But I wonder if maybe I wonder how boutique they are then.
Well,
They're
I mean,
made in England, so
They're made in England, so they make them themselves on a PCB. So okay,
yeah, I mean, they're arguably boutique because they're still a small brand.
yeah.
yeah,
In that sense, it's not boutique as in this guy's building a tweed circuit in his garage
well,
and
no,
only
I'm
putting
not,
out 10 a year.
yeah, no, I'm not going with that. You know what? I think I'm a little skeptical of brands nowadays because there's so many that are just outsourcing, and I don't know, maybe that's it. But
Oh, like how like there's like boutique builders guild or whatever that's called, where like they're the people who build Wampler stuff, and so like Wampler is actually a very small company, but they outsource manufacturing now.
yeah,
or like
no,
Two
more
Rock was
along
with
the
them for a
lines-
bit, and like a bunch of other brands.
More along the lines of like the companies that don't come up with their own stuff. Like I don't mind if you outsource someone to build your PCB and all that, but if like I know or I'm under the impression, and I would like bet that Brian Wampler's the man designing the pedals or the people at Wampler. I'm talking about like companies that are just like rebranding and bringing stuff in, but
Oh, like
like
the
Wangs
Donners and the
Donners and the Moors and all that. And
I mean, Victory is definitely unique designs in the fact that no one builds amps this size,
Yeah.
and so there is like a lot of engineering going into their product.
Yeah.
Even if it is hey, this is our play off this circuit. Originally, like they are changing stuff up and putting work in. It's not like they're just doing a part for part clone.
oh
And they're not creating
that's good.
tube screamers.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a tube screamer.
Then why do we have so many different versions of the tube screamer?
Because there's something
nothing
wrong
ever
with
wrong
everyone's
it.
version. Actually, I don't play tube screamers, so that's like
That's more for Chris.
yeah. Chris is the tube screamer guy, isn't he?
Yep.
Kind of.
All right. Actually, speaking of modern clones of circuits, the Electro Harmonix has now released a reissue of the Triangle Big Mouth Pi. That, if I recall correctly, is coming out at around $100. So you get to save some money off a vintage one.
Yeah, those look. So they've been reissuing a lot of their muffs in the smaller enclosures,
Mm-hmm.
but this one, I liked the video that they posted of it. It sounded great.
Yeah, it's been interesting. You've seen all these people doing all these plays off big muffs for a while, and it's good to see Electro Harmonix basically coming in, undercutting everybody. They didn't go, oh, we're going to do boutique versions of everything and jack the price up. They're coming in very aggressively priced on this stuff, so it's very attainable. Like I brought the op amp version that they did because I like an op amp, big muff, and
In Billy
That is-
Corgan.
hey, you plug that thing in and play Cherub Rock, it sounds awesome. So yeah, I think this, like all of them, I think they're going to do well. I do wonder, are you getting people where they're like, I want all the muffs, and so they're buying all of these individually?
That's why you buy a JHS Muffaletta.
Actually, that was the first muff pedal I owned.
Do you still have that?
I do. I'm not using it a lot. I like it.
Have you compared it to other? Well, they don't have an op amp muff on there, do they?
Yeah, that's the one that pedal doesn't cover, and so that's why I really wanted to grab that one. It would be fun to get a sample of this, hint, Electro Harmonix, hint, and do a shootout.
Yeah, Mike Matthews. While you're listening to this,
Actually, I met a contact at EHX. I need to follow up with him.
really, dude,
I have his card.
you made
somewhere
a
around here.
contact at EHX and like,
I've been talking to him.
dude, make that happen. That's a company I'd love to work with.
Yeah, I mean, I was using my what's it called, the Super Ego this weekend.
Oh yeah.
We haven't had a keyboard player for 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know what is going on with my church where like suddenly no one plays piano or no one's available who does. Yeah, what kind of What kind of multi-thousand person church doesn't have piano players?
You'd be surprised.
Listen, get your little chopstick fingers up here. We're gonna do this. No. You're just playing pads. All you have to do is
you're
hit
just
this.
playing chords. So, you're fine.
That's it.
Just stand there and hit play on the laptop, and we'll do all the work. So I've been laying down pads as like kind of my role a little bit. So like I'll lay down a pad or two, and then I will play the guitar part over it, and have to like do a lot. But like the Super Ego covers so much ground. That is one of my favorite pedals.
All right, hey.
And now that I got the deluxe, it's so much better.
ADD moment. What happened with your soundboard Sunday morning?
Oh god, yeah. So my soundboard went down morning of. The entire Dante network wasn't passing audio to our in-ears, and so our sound guy, like a champ, just stripped the whole system down, switched it to analog. Like he was just, I've never seen someone move that fast while wiring. It was pretty incredible. So we missed like an hour and a half of rehearsal time, so we basically just played the service without practicing.
Nice.
But like it was pretty much everyone. We've all been playing together for a while, so it was a pretty solid band, and we only had one new song, so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, that sounds like kind of like the way my worship team is we're pretty solid. Like we literally, this is the conversation as we're walking to set up. Hey, we're moving that song up a half step, and everyone was just okay. Like lead lines, everything, just boom, up a half step. Didn't even rehearse it. So
yeah, ever since I switched to Nashville numbers, I've been able to do that way easier than like trying to read chord sheets and be independent. Like I'm able to memorize the song way faster and like just adjust on the fly. It's been really nice.
Yeah, Nashville number system is something that is an amazing thing to learn, especially early on. So my son started playing bass a few months ago, and the worship leader we kind of have like two worship leaders. They're brothers, and you know, they kind of split everything down the middle. But the one who's in charge of making sure all of the instruments besides drums, because the other worship leader's a drummer, he takes care of drums. So all the other musicians, he takes care of us. He taught him Nashville number system, and he just slid right in, no problem.
Nice.
So I mean, it's just a pattern for the most part, especially if you're doing bass or if you do cowboy chords on guitar, or not cowboy chords. If you do a lot of bar chords, it's really simple to do Nashville number system to transpose on the fly. But we're getting distracted yet again.
Oh, it's great. Why don't we jump into our last product that was new that we found interesting from Maris, the Enzo. And they're calling it a multi-voice instrument synthesizer.
Is there like a fire somewhere?
Yeah, there's a siren going out on my street right now.
Oh my gosh.
And my windows are open. Oh, don't worry, it's getting closer.
Oh, sweet.
Don't worry. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Let's just everyone take this time to listen to this.
Say a prayer for whoever is on the other end of this.
Yeah, well, maybe it's a good siren. Like someone's having a baby and they're going to the hospital.
All right, they're gone. So the Enzo from Maris. It looks. I'm reading through the features, and seriously, what does this thing not do?
No, the question is like, what the hell is it supposed to do in the first place? Like, it's so crazy. Isn't it kind of like a filter thing?
But it's got its filter, delay. There's a synthesizer in it, so that's where it reads your pitch, changes it, like creates fake tones of that pitch.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I like all these like
envelopes,
synth pedals coming out now.
So the thing is, all right. So Maris is some people from Strymon left. I believe one of their main engineers or designers of like the circuits and everything left, and they started this company. Which is funny because those people also left Line 6 to start that, and then
are those the same people?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So Strymon or Damage Control came from Line 6 employees. They left there, and they started Damage Control, and then Damage Control now does business as Strymon, and then some of those people left and started this company. If I'm wrong, I don't care.
Comment in a group.
Yeah, just put it in the group. Just say you're wrong, or you can be like, you're wrong, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. Hee hee. But they like are getting so crazy with these pedals. They can do so much. It's kind of insane to think about like how much control goes into one pedal, and just how like these pedals have it like, oh, if you attach an expression, you can ramp this while bringing this and changing this, and it's, oh my god, these pedals are not for stupid people. You need a degree in something to work these pedals. I'm getting frustrated just thinking about it, and I'm not even going to own one. But that's like, I watched when they came out with the reverb, I watched it, and the demo video from them was like 30 minutes long. They're like, yep, and that's just scratching the surface. Like, that's...
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how powerful things are getting. It does kind of bring us into a great question, which is our topic for this episode. First off, is there now a life cycle of pedals? Like, is technology advancing so fast that these things are becoming obsolete? Or what's going on with sort of how DSP is coming into the market and changing things versus where you used to buy a pedal and it was pretty static. You had controls on the top, but it only kind of really did one thing. And multi-effect units are getting more and more popular and kind of changing the way things are. Is the market really changing now? Here's what I think about it. So, I'm gonna let's use coffee. All right. So, you're always gonna have the old people who go to McDonald's to get their coffee black and sit there. That's the people who are like, tube amps are the only way, and they're like, I just need a tube screamer in front of a Marshall and I'm done. You've got that, and then you've got, it's kind of a generational thing. Then you've got the younger generation, I'd say kind of towards my age, around there, where we're like, yeah, no, this is cool, this is neat, this is awesome, but I still like the old stuff too. And then now you're coming out with, and those are like the people who are like, yeah, I like Starbucks, but if you got a pod on, that's fine. And then you've got all these young, very young people, 18, 19, 20, who are into all of this crazy stuff. This is the people who are like, I'm going to do the coffee drip, brew my own stuff. What is it? AeroPress.
Yeah, like all this stuff that is kind of like in the boutique coffee world. And you've got these people want this stuff. They're like, I want to be able to do all these different noises and stuff like that. And it's one of those things where I think the generations, I can identify who the other people are, and you're always gonna have the people who don't see eye to eye and will not even give or budge on it. I'm kind of in the camp of, if it makes you happy, go for it. But like, that's like, this new stuff is becoming so intense and so it requires so much knowledge that the ramp up time on getting acquainted with a pedal is getting a little crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought this Boss MS3, I don't know how long ago, and thinking, oh great, now I can do a mini board, I'll get all my tones out of this thing, and I won't have to haul as much junk anymore. And I don't know, the learning curve or whatever it is about like transitioning my mindset to presets and hopping presets and hopping around in them and pre-programming my whole board and all this kind of stuff. I'm not able to wrap my head around that yet.
I think a lot of that too with the presets comes with, there's two different thoughts when it comes to actually learning to play. You've got the people who want to play exactly the way the song is supposed to be. And that's a preset person. That's the people who are like, I know the tempo's going to be 125. I'm going to use this delay, this overdrive setting, and this, like, people who use the Kemper with the remote, stuff like that, and they have the different presets. Like, I know on this song I want 65 bassman with this, and this. And then there's the people, which I've realized I'm in this camp, where I don't play the part the same every time. I mean, if there's a lead line, I'll play that for the most part. But some of the parts I take little liberties with, and I might play something different if, it feels like the song's moving in this, way. But I think, that's when I try to do a lot of MIDI, I couldn't really stick with it because I'm not a person who can lock in and just say, that's my setting. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm like, I have no problems wrapping my head around what MIDI does and how to program it, but I'm having trouble setting myself up for running my pedal board off that, for example. Like, I've got a buddy doing that right now. He just sold off everything he has that's not MIDI controllable. So he just got a Brothers this week and is playing with that. And his whole goal is, because he sets up his worship set, he's the leader, so he's setting everything up in main stage, and he's setting up loops and everything like that. So he's like, cool, I'm going to also set this up so I never have to use my pedal board. I'll just run all those off of the same cues.
It can run the same MIDI. It can send the commands whenever it sends the cues.
Yeah, and I've seen bands do that. I think Periphery does that, because Periphery is a very rigid set. They're not improvising.
Yeah.
But I just
there's that.
I don't know if it's I don't want to be toned. I can't think ahead, because I'm normally a good planner elsewhere in my life and thinking ahead about stuff. I think for me it's the hesitation of crap always goes wrong.
My biggest thing is that in my ears change, and how I hear something whenever if I was programming something, I'd hear it this way, but then I might go to the venue and play it, and I'm like, it just doesn't seem right. I want to be able to kick on a little, another overdrive and stack it and get a thicker sound or something like that. I think that's my biggest thing, is I can't just stick to a certain song, a certain sound on a song. I can't do it. I don't know why. We are way off topic.
Yeah, well, we kind of stayed in there about just our heads aren't working with this, but a common criticism that we've kind of seen, especially in the praise and worship community. I know we're not solely focused on that, but it's something that still is pretty
we
in
all
our
do
face.
It. Yeah.
Is there always seems to be the delay pedal du jour, or a reverb pedal. That's the hot new one, and it seems we're barely even talking about things we saw in January anymore at Winter NAMM.
Yeah.
The life cycle has just gotten so short on some of these pedals now.
I think that I wouldn't say the life cycle's short, because there's new stuff coming out constantly. I'd say the life cycle's kind of short because we have an oversaturated market and they fall back, but also I feel like we're not getting great quality products kind of they used to be in the whole world changing thing, the Line 6. All right, so a DL4 is,
well, that was a groundbreaking pedal.
but the thing is Scott, you're still using one.
I am still using one. Yes,
it's an amazing sounding pedal. Here's one, Eventide Time Factor. I have
which
one,
you're using,
which I'm using because it was groundbreaking. That was before the timeline. That was before the DD500. That was one of the first smart delays, as I like to call them. But it sounded amazing. And the thing is we're getting these products that come out and they have cool little flash in the pan things. But when it comes down to it, do they really sound amazing? So here's one that was really big, and then I haven't heard much about it in a while, is the Empress reverb and the Empress delay, the new ones.
Oh, those were great.
Yeah, no, they're great. And the thing is they have some good sounding stuff on them, but the life cycle on them has kind of died down. But I think it's because one of it, one of the problems I have with it is the functionality of it. Bank up, bank down, all this stuff with the presets. I don't think it's got the greatest functionality on it. And I feel like that kind of played itself out.
Which is one of the things that, frankly, the Strymon did very well, was the ergonomics of the pedal.
Yeah, and the user interface is not all that complicated on it either. The Boss DD500, I think, has one of the most complicated user interfaces. And granted, you can change a lot of things and you can do all this, but when I got one, I've owned 2 of them. I got one the first time and I was kind of overwhelmed with the user interface and underwhelmed with the sound. And I got rid of it. And then I got another one. I was like, oh, I'll give it a good old another shot. I felt the same way. I mean, but there's a lot of people who like it. I mean, but I think it really shows that all the, the good pedals from the companies that are, number one, the companies have to last. They're going to stay, and everything else is going to kind of fall to the wayside. So, I mean, you could argue on the life cycle on some pedals, the company wasn't big enough, not enough people really got into it, but I feel like the market should adjust for it. If it's a good pedal, it's gonna make a name for itself. So,
yeah, it's interesting too. We were talking a little bit about this in the pre-episode of what's kind of cool about the way digital pedals have gone now is that the technology hasn't necessarily been advancing over the last 5 to 10 years. Very technically minded people will argue with me on this one, but realistically, getting things from analog into digital is very reliable now, and there's a lot of great products that are very affordable out there that does that well. So I know that was a big selling point on the Boss 500 series, where they were saying, oh, we have better A to D and D to A, and we're running at a higher bit rate and bit depth versus what Strymon's doing. And we've watched Strymon kind of hold its value, and the 500 series from Boss got really popular for a hot minute, and now are kind of faded off.
It's back to it's in that like 225 range on the resale, 220, 200. That's the time factor is there. It doesn't have the used value is a lot lower than the newer, but that's also market saturation due to there's so many of them out there. It's been around for so long. But the not the Boss timeline. Wow, Strymon timeline. It still does a great job. I mean, there hasn't been a huge update or anything crazy over the past few years, but it still holds its resale value very well. Most people buy a timeline used, know they can just turn around and sell it for the same price usually, and they get to try the pedal. But
shouldn't that market be saturated at that point? Haven't it's not like people are pre-ordering and waiting for a timeline like they are a King of Tone right now. Yeah.
All right, the King of Tone thing, that's a whole crazy thing in the first place. I don't think that there's a whole lot of pedals that are going to be able to do what Analog Man has done with the King of Tone as long as they have.
Or at least well, they also intentionally limit the supply.
Yeah.
Same thing with why KTRs are popular as they are. There's always been a limited supply, and they go randomly out of stock, and you never know if you're going to be able to grab one, so you got to grab one while you can.
In Canada.
Hey, I really like that pedal. Yeah. I really, really like the KTR. But the other interesting thing too is you were mentioning earlier, there's guys who just have to have that tone. They're like, all right, this is how James Duke played it on that album. I need to go download his presets.
Well, James Duke usually uses a DD20, so can't really pull that one off. But there's, I don't know. I think there's a lot of pedals that are just going to last because they've become standards because of the quality they, especially when they came out. The Timeline came out and was this phenomenal pedal, and it did that, and it became a standard, especially in the praise and worship world. Even then, the Timeline is something that has really moved into other genres as well. But you've got Eventide is one that I just want to keep coming back to. Look at the Factor series, the Mod Factor, Time Factor, and then what's the reverb called? The Space. Eventide Space. Even like Eventide's newest pedal product, or one of the newest ones, was the H9. All it was a small enclosure that was able to download all the Factor sounds.
Oh, I mean, Line 6 hasn't really updated their algorithms, to my understanding, in a while. They just keep upgrading the hardware and the user interface.
Yeah, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the whole thing, too, with, like, it comes to tonal quality, or sound quality, if you don't like the term tone. But if you put out a good product with a good sound, that's what's gonna, give your lifespan. But I'd say when it comes to new products, the lifespan is somewhat shortening, but I think it's due to the attention of guitar players. We can't focus.
I'm sorry, what?
Exactly.
Yeah, we noodle around in practices and shit and all that good stuff.
Quit tuning while we're trying to sound check the drums.
I was going to say tuning up Mike Cower. I've had to have my back to it. Because I can't stop focusing on it. Yeah, did you know I got a KR1? Did I tell you about this?
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Probably like the same color and everything that I love. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks really great in person. You wouldn't believe it.
I want one so bad.
Okay, I'll also ask this. So, while we're on the attention deficit disorder train, how popular flipping has gotten and how easy it's gotten with things like Reverb and all these online tools and eBay before that. You think that's encouraging some of this, that a lot of us are able to buy stuff and turn it around and not really lose much money on it?
Yeah, it's a rental system. It's a self-invented rental system.
Yeah, I think that's part of what's motivating this whole. I mean, also that combined with Facebook groups and Instagram, where I need to have all the likes because I have the current hot popular product.
Listen, I'm 100% guilty of that.
I think we all are.
You make sure the good stuff, and then you tag that company because they might repost it. Thank you, Rockstock Pedals, for always reposting my picture. But yeah, I'd say flipping has a lot to do with it too, and like I think Reverb changed the game because they made it where you can see what it's selling for. I mean, eBay, you could do that too. You could kind of check, but Reverb has, like, because it's focused on musicians, has just made it so easy. I don't know how many times you see people get pissed off messages. The lowest one the highest one on Reverb is 470 right now. Would you do 464? Like, it's just the whole market's changed. I mean, back whenever a lot of these pedals came out, the industry standards, some of the early Boss stuff, people paid whatever it was marked at the store. They didn't know how much the guy down the road was selling it for used. They didn't have Craigslist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you basically bought it at Guitar Center and then you sold it back to them at used prices.
You bought it at your mom and pop's places, like,
yeah,
and then you'd sell it back to them. That was always great.
Get that 10% discount or whatever.
Listen, that actually worked for me one time. Like, I'm not even. I forgot. I bought a Gretsch because I forgot what guitar I traded in. Traded in a guitar I didn't like, and I ended up getting a Gretsch that I didn't like. And man, they did give you 10% off that purchase. I saved like $100 or $80. It was like an $800 guitar.
Was it a 500 or 5,000 or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know. It was one of the made in Koreas, It was like, it was like 5422, something like that. I don't know. I can't keep track of their number system.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's almost as bad as Ibanez.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, I think we've covered that topic pretty fully.
Chris really hasn't said much. He just
Chris hasn't said anything.
I know. It's the Scott and Jonathan show.
I mean, I don't really have much to say on this topic because, like, I'm, like, a fan of both camps because there's a lot of times that, like, I have to go with a certain thing. Like, one of our notes we had was, like, hardware versus software, which kind of touched on with, like, the DSP versus, like, an analog delay or whatever.
Well, even then, I think one thing we mentioned was, like, hardware and stuff. You can, with nowadays, with a lot of stuff, they don't need a new pedal. They just need to give you an update.
Yeah, because you can, like, if you really wanted to, you don't even have to, like, go out and buy a full rig anymore. If you wanted to, you just sit there and run GarageBand or whatever the fucking main stage is.
We need the dolphins.
Yeah. Like, oh. But, yeah, like, you don't even have to buy a rig anymore. You can go buy a $30 software, and now you have, like, whatever rig you want that week.
Oh yeah, like I think I'm probably the most guilty one of doing this. Like how half the time I don't use an amp anymore. I run into my computer and I get that great. I actually get a great tone out of it. And on top of that, with like when I'm like tracking background tracks for church, I plug basically through my tuner into my interface because I just need a buffer to make a guitar sound good before it goes into most audio interfaces. And then I have a plugin that does a great tube screamer. I have great delay pedal plugins, and some of them are free. They're just given out. Like it's amazing how easy it is to gain good sounding stuff these days without really having to work that much.
Yeah.
I would and I would also say the one thing is the longevity of the how long a guitar pedal stays relevant is also the fact of a lot of these pedals are just not copying, but they're just mods on existing stuff.
Yep.
Too.
Yeah, especially on like the boutique end of things. It's a lot of like, I can make it more authentic or I can make it more vintage.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. But like nowadays, everything Old Noise Blood Endeavors came out with, now that they're an established player, is unique and different.
Yeah.
Everything recent out of Wampler has been pretty, unique in its own right. Everything that you're seeing come out of any of the more established players that used to be boutique but now kind of aren't.
Moving in that big boy game.
Yeah. Like
Keeley,
JHS isn't really doing... Yeah. Well, I mean, JHS has their stuff where they're like, here's every tube screamer.
Oh, yeah.
And a pedal, which used prices are not really sinking on that yet.
Hold on. Earthquaker has every type of flipping tube screamer in a pedal. Palisades.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one.
JHS just picked 9 that they liked or something like that.
Yeah. I guess they do have those pedals, but at the same time, they're not doing like every other month they're coming out with that. Okay, here's my best CE1. All right, here's my best. They're not rehashing the vintage pedals as much as some of the usually most up and comers kind of are. Like that's how you kind of that used to be how you made a name for yourself.
Also,
And
if you're an up and comer building pedals, don't tag the company that you're copying. Stop. It's not even cool anymore.
No.
There was a guy in Brazil who was making a JHS legit copy of a Morning Glory. It just doesn't have JHS on it, but it still has the Morning Glory symbol that everyone knows. It's gold. It's got it don't tag the company. It's stupid. It's like and don't hashtag them. At least try and act like you came up with something yourself. All right, sorry.
Also, don't steal somebody else's design and then pass it as a unique thing.
Yeah, at least, if you're gonna copy a Morning Glory, be like, it's a Blues Breaker derivative. lie. Just lie about it until you get caught, and then apologize,
And hope you don't get sued.
and then just make more stuff, and be like, no, I've changed my ways. It's cool.
And find a better goop to put over your pedal, your circuit board, so
Yeah,
people
listen.
don't know what you're doing.
Get goop for your goop.
Ooh. All right, with that thought, let's close it out. Once again, thanking StringJoy for the sponsorship. Again, check them out, stringjoy.com. Great products. Email them, info@stringjoy.com, if you have any questions, any crazy ideas you have, anything. They respond A, very quickly, but B, they really help you out. So definitely check them out. Also, check out our reviews on iTunes, and feel free to leave one if you're liking the show. Only if you like the show.
No.
John can only fake so many before we actually get going.
I've got 2 kids and a wife that got a phone. I gotta get this up and running.
Check out our Instagram over at the Effects Loop. I will probably be posting something later today with something new I bought.
Wait,
check
later
out
today is like the day that it drops, or later today like the day that we record?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I'll do it sometime.
Okay.
I want to post to the Instagram at some point. You can hold me to that.
Coming sometime at a point in time.
Also join our Facebook group over at the Effects Loop. Just search for it. We have conversations. We follow up on the episodes. We always love when people who listen, chime in, give us sort of their take on whatever we're talking about, telling us when we're idiots and when we're wrong. Talking about how hot dogs are sandwiches. Anything. We enjoy those conversations. Check out our YouTube. If you're not already, or maybe even you're listening to our episodes on YouTube, they're all posted there too. If you want to listen to them at work.
17 views on the last episode.
Dang.
Yeah,
that's hockey stick growth right there.
That's like
man.
17 times more than usual.
And finally, if you have interesting topics for us, products you want us to talk about on the show and check out that you're seeing, email us over at theeffectsloop@gmail.com. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Scott.
I'm Chris.
I'm Marissa.
I'm Diaz, and I haven't been recording at all this whole time.
Son of a...
We are strong. We have to just keep pushing along. We are one. So let's come together, show 'em some love. There are many things that this world needs, but the most important one is unity. United we stand, divided we fall. Through the ages this has been the same old song. Yeah. Don't fight, don't stand. We're strong,
I'm
You
going.
going to? All right, 3, 2, 1.
The
Hey,
one
and I didn't
delayed
clip
one.
either.
I thought the point was to clip.
You made that joke last week.
No, I'm really serious. I've slept
No,
since
just to
then.
have a spike.
It just has to have a spike. Okay.
Yeah, not a clip.
And that's why I click. I snap instead of clapping.
Oh, I do a pirouette and then clap.
And then you
again.
just slam the microphone into the desk.
Yeah, no. I'm not at a desk. Didn't you just hear the argument? I'm sitting in my recliner. Like no joke, I need to take a picture of how I record the podcast. I sit in my recliner, I lay back, I've got the microphone sitting, I just enjoy myself.
Good.
But you're enjoying yourself, but you won't move it to the bedroom.
No, I'm not going to the bedroom because all there is, I can lay on the bed looking flat up, or I can be sitting at my desk, and that chair is not as comfortable as this nice lazy boy recliner.
Good point.
So, how am I supposed to eat my chips in the bed?
It's doable. I think you can do it. You can do it, Diaz.
Scott believes in me. Listen,
If there's
you're
one
gonna-
thing I believe in you for being able to do is eat in bed.
You're gonna believe that I'm gonna get my ass kicked by my wife if she has to get in bed and there's crumbs. I'm gonna be trying to lay on the moves like, hey, sweetheart.
This is why you eat on top of the bed. And then you just take the comforter off and you just shake it.
Someone will clean it up. I don't know who.
And then you kick your Roomba on or you invite your dog over and you're done.
No. I'm not gonna
So,
try that. Let's get this thing going.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Welcome to the effects loop.
Hey. Welcome to the Vex Loop.
How you doing?
Yeah. That's it. That's the intro.
That's the intro. How you doing? Welcome to the effects loop. How you doing?